Hi, I'm David Domke. I'm chair of the Department of Communication at the University of Washington. Every once in a while, I get the great privilege to sit down with alumni and faculty and staff and students, others around the campus, just to talk to them about work they do, things they care about, and kind of their daily work or their daily kind of hopes and dreams. Today, I'm joined by one of the people who is being inducted into our Alumni Hall of Fame, our 2015 class, Ross Reynolds. Thanks for joining us, Ross.
Happy to be here.
So, Ross, we're going to talk in a minute about your KUOW work and other contributions to the community. But I'd like to just start here and say, so did you grow up in Seattle? Where'd you grow up?
No, I grew up in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, and I never imagined I would end up in radio, although I was the photograph editor of my yearbook. But when I was in college, in high school, and then when I was in college, I was volunteering at a radio station and doing a morning music show, the Alternative Alarm Clock. I graduated from college. I got a job as an import-export correspondent at a company that exported turbines. Quit, it was too boring. Got a job selling hi-fi equipment. Got fired because I was terrible at it. And this whole time I was always working at this radio station. And then I had the backward realization that, maybe I should be doing radio. So I went to the people who ran the station and I said, is there something I could do here? And they suggested I might try to do public affairs. It was largely a music station, and sort of just threw me into it and eventually hired me. I was utterly unqualified. So I got to learn on the job, and through conferences and working on the job, I gradually acquired some skills. Went from Worcester, Massachusetts to Portland, Oregon to work at KBOO radio there, and then in '87 got the job up here at KUOW.
What are the characteristics of radio that get you up in the morning, that excites you?
Talking to people. I've interviewed you.
Yes.
Just meeting people who are smart, have a particular area of knowledge or expertise, and trying to draw out their story. I've just had so many opportunities over the years to do that in such great ways. Just recently, I talked to Washington State's Teacher of the Year. He had quite a week. He got named Teacher of the Year, and the same week, the president of China attended his government classroom at his high school down in Tacoma. And this guy was just bursting with energy and creativity and thoughts about education and thoughts about teaching and how he was using Twitter in his classroom. So it's just a fascination of meeting other people. And I think that I was at one time a fairly shy person, but having the job of being the person who asks the questions kind of empowers me to, I have to ask questions, I have to come out of a shell and interact with people. It's been a great joy.
What is there something about sitting down with someone in an interview or audio space that is different than sitting down with someone in a coffee shop, or is it pretty much the same?
I try to make it as much the same as possible. Of course, it's not the same. People are more or less accustomed to sitting in front of a microphone, and people who aren't used to it, part of my job is to just relax them, to make them comfortable with what they're doing, to assure them that I'm not out there to play gotcha, unless they're a politician, in which case that might be part of the agenda, but make them comfortable so that they can be the best selves they can be and reveal themselves. And with some people who are more experienced and have been interviewed a lot of times, the challenge is a little bit different. Like, what can I ask this person to get them, maybe not even to say anything, but to stop and think for a moment? Because so many people who appear in the media frequently are pre-programmed and automated. And what can I do to actually get beyond the facade of the pre-pat answers they have?
Okay, let's step back a little bit. And this is an Alumni Hall of Fame you're going into, so we're thrilled that you're one of our alumni. You are an alumni of our Masters of Communication program in digital media, what we now have more broadly called our Communication Leadership Graduate Program. Can you talk a little bit about why you, someone with great success in your field, decided to go into that program?
Well, I've been eternally pessimistic about radio. I always thought, satellite radio is going to destroy terrestrial radio. The web is going to destroy terrestrial radio. And so for quite a while, I've thought about how we could turn what we do in public radio into other forms that are being consumed. So I created the first website at KUOW way back in 1996. And as time went by, as we got into the aughts, KUOW was not doing as much as I thought it should be doing in the digital area. So it was in part from a sense of frustration. I wanted to be able to be with people and talk with people about what this digital revolution meant. And I can remember distinctly the first times I talked to Hanson Hossein, the head of the program. He mentioned to all of us, he said, the landscape is going to utterly change probably by the time you get your degree. And indeed, he was right. Anybody remember the long tail? A theory which has since kind of gone by the wayside. So many things have changed then. But he said this program will sort of give you a basis in history to understand the context of these changes and take them forward. And it's really done that in spades. It's also just sort of reinvigorated my intellectual curiosity in very deep ways. I was not that great a college student, to be honest. We had asked listeners to call in and say, what would you tell your freshman self? Because school's starting here at the University of Washington. And as I thought about it, I would say, drop out, do something else, get more motivated before you're spending all this money in a liberal arts education. Yeah. And so I was an indifferent student then. But coming back here with something that I was passionate about, learning about digital media, and encountering these incredible instructors, and in particular, you're around adults if you're in grad school. So people who had all this varied experience that they brought to the table, and learning as much from them as I was learning from the classes, it was great. Yeah.
And so you went through the program and you were doing that part-time while you were working?
Yeah, I never thought I could work all day and then go to an evening program. Frankly, I had my doubts about that. But the classes were just so great. The discussions were so great. Craig Baker did a wonderful class on law that I attended, and he pretty much did a straight lecture for 3 hours, and I thought, how am I ever going to go from a full day at work and listen to someone lecturing on the law? And believe me, I've interviewed a lot of lawyers. They're not always the greatest interviews, but he was just wonderful and spellbinding. I learned so much from it.
Yeah. And what would you say, well, you said you were very pessimistic about radio. What about today?
I'm feeling slightly more optimistic. I mean, you look behind you and you see the Seattle PI is gone. I've got a framed picture of the last cover of the Seattle Post-Intelligencer. Newspapers are going away. The number of jobs in journalism are going away. But public radio, amazingly, seems to be reinventing itself. Maybe the first reinvention of the last 20 years was Ira Glass and that storytelling that he did. And it's continually reinventing itself now into podcasts, Serial, the kind of super hit podcast of the last couple of years. So, and there is this incredible audience loyalty. We'll see it tested. We've got a pledge drive starting on Saturday. But there seems to be people who connect with radio, and I think it might be partly because of the storytelling aspect, but partly because our goal is to present you with the world and allow you to make your mind up about it. And in our increasingly polarized world of the web and of journalism, there's less and less of that available. So people really value both the message that we have and the way that we're telling it.
I'll give you a chance to think about this as I'm asking the question. I'm going to ask you in a second here, who are some people that are your heroes today in the business, people that are doing really great work? You'd say maybe one or two names or something where a student or others who are watching this might say, I want to go listen to her or to him or something, right? So who might those folks be?
Oh, the first person that comes to mind is Ira Glass, because Ira has been so influential throughout radio. I mean, This American Life has spawned so many radio shows that imitate that and work with that. And on top of that, Ira Glass has just been an incredibly generous person within public radio in nurturing the careers of folks. So many people have come out of This American Life to do podcasts like Serial, to do other shows. Plus, he just connects with people and he really cares about conveying his messages. You can watch him on YouTube in a YouTube video called How to Tell a Story. That's just a masterclass in telling radio storytelling. He was here in this building. We got him just after This American Life started, before it became a huge hit. And I called him up and I said, we'd love to have you come do a workshop with us. I knew his work at NPR. And he said, sure. I said, I couldn't really pay you that much. And I could pay you a couple $100. And he said, I just want to go to Seattle. He just was so generous about it. And he came and he did the class. And a lot of folks do classes and then they beat it. But he sat there and listened to everybody's work and had a thoughtful comment to make about everything that they had to say. I mean, he's one person that comes to mind immediately. Some person who's not in radio and who I'm totally honored to be affiliated with in the Hall of Fame wall is Tim Egan, the New York Times op-ed writer now. His book, The Good Rain, was just a masterful introduction to our area. And if anyone has moved here, you must read The Good Rain by Tim Egan. And his thoughtfulness about our area and his roots going back to Spokane as a kid, if I could just get him to tell me the secret good fishing places that he has out there, I don't think I'm ever going to get that out of him, but a wonderful person.
Let me ask this to close this up here, okay? If you're talking to, and maybe you do come in and do these guest lectures for the folks in the graduate program and the communication leadership program, and and you'll now be introduced as a member of our Alumni Hall of Fame, right? And so they're going to be looking for some pearls of wisdom, right? What would be one or two attributes that you would say to people at the undergrad or the graduate level that these are characteristics, life characteristics that are going to be essential for success in 2015, 2025, 2030 and on?
It's pretty simple to me. I mean, you're going to be working in your career for many, many, many years. I'm at the point now where many of my friends are retiring, and they can't wait to retire because I don't think they've really had a passion for their jobs. It was a job, and it served them well, and then but they're happy to leave it. And so I think if I wanted to convey something to someone who is changing their life by going to graduate school or starting their career through college, I would say have a hypothesis about the thing that you think you're going to love for the rest of your life. Always have a hypothesis and always go for that. Now, it's a hypothesis, so it could change, but unless you're passionate about what it is that you're doing, unless you care about it, unless you get up in the morning and you're excited to be there and you kind of have to get dragged home, it's not going to sustain you permanently. That, more than money, more than prestige, more than position, that's what you need to focus on, is what speaks to you.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Sure.
I'm David Domke. I've been joined here, it's been my privilege to be joined by Ross Reynolds, a member of our 2015 Alumni Hall of Fame class. This has been a chat with the chair. I'm the chair of the Department of Communication at the University of Washington. Thanks for spending time with us. Thank you very much, Ross.
Happy to. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.